Well, we'll see how this works. Maybe I'll have you move down by it. I'm not gonna be able to get anybody in here.
If you maybe
Yeah, I think maybe.
it up on that ledge there, maybe.
I'm not quite gonna make it.
Plug it. Here.
There we go. That'll work.
All right.
Okay, I see the back of Sue's head. We'll be all right.
Okay with that, right? All right,
So,
roll call. Please,
Commissioner Lloyd Bridget,
here,
Commissioner Laura Greenlee Hart is absent today, Commissioner Ingrid Kohler.
Here.
Commissioner Sue Springborn,
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Zureka,
Here.
and Commissioner Artie Alvarez is absent today, and Councilmember Cassidy Schreier. I did not hear from her. Maybe she should show up there.
That's nice.
we have a quorum,
We do.
so motion to adopt the agenda, please.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
And Larry, it's motion second,
I second.
Sarah seconds. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Sarah, makes a motion second. Ingrid seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Oh, do we gotta approve this?
This, yeah, this packet includes the joint meeting that we had with the ACC.
Okay, so you need another motion for it. Okay,
I saw more.
I'll second.
I saw.
Sorry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Anybody on Zoom? Oh, I'm getting the hang of this.
Nope, nobody on Zoom.
Okay, anybody from the public would like to speak? Yeah. 7 minutes.
Dave Nelson, master naturalist. There's Breaker Center. On page 4. You'll see a lot of the volunteers. I've been working in Southwood for 18 years. And a lot of people have been volunteering, especially the people around the neighborhood. Lloyd put in a lot of work there, his wife Julie did. Mike Keene, Mayor Furlong, and that the buckthorn, we pretty much removed it. This is what the buckthorn was kind of like, and this is a small version of buckthorn, the diameter of the wood that we took out. There is 50 some gavels. There's 5 of them in Washington DC, 4 of them in the State House here, and people who volunteered so many hours got a buckthorn gavel. People who donated so much money got a buckthorn gavel. And that, but there is a grant out there. There's the people can't go out there that used to work like they used to. Maplewood have the goats come in. And so does Hy-Vee behind here have the goats. And there's a grant through the DNR. I looked into it. I cannot apply for the grant because I don't own the property. The city owns the property. I brought all the information down here. Give it to one of the people on the desk on the north side. And I don't know if they looked at it anymore or what, but you can get the goats pretty much for free. And when we took out the big stuff, the stuff just like this, the goats will take out the small stuff. If they keep at it for 3 years or more, they will keep the stuff down. And cutting and treating, I don't believe in cutting and treating. You've got poison there. That's the beginning of the St. Paul water supply. That goes into the water when it rains. And we were pulling it. I'm a firm believer of pulling, not poisoning the plants. And the deck, that should be looked at. Lloyd helped with that. That is in need of that's on page 5 of staining. It should have been a long time ago. And that the reason why we put the wooden post, the steel post in, is because kids were taking and kicking the slats out in the water. By doing it this way, we cut down all the damage that was being done to that deck. We replaced the deck. And and they're not mowing. They're not mowing the edges like they used to the trail. The wood chips. I got 2 semi-loads of wood chips from free from Ramsey County. I had the spreader, and then I borrowed your husband's spreader too. And that, when you go through there idling with a tractor, perfectly, 5.5 foot wide wood chips. Now, Kathy says they want the double grind wood chips, which is $1,800. Okay, double grind wood chips are only gonna last a year or two. The regular grind are bigger wood chips, but they will last 3 to 4 years.
The cheaper cost. And a cheaper cost.
Yeah, it's cheaper. You're not spending $1,800 for a double grind. And when they did have the wood chip trail in there, the city used to mow 2 feet on each side of the wood chips. That's so when people walk, no wood ticks, there is deer ticks in there. Because I have found them. Vic and Vivian that work in there, they have found them. And that, but by keeping it down, more people will come in. When they had the park survey that was here, I printed off 65, handed out 63 of them. Only two people knew about the park survey. Nobody knew a single word about it. So I'm looking, I want to come back because I want to print out on the park survey on each park, what was handed out, what was done, what the people want, and everything. Because I spent a lot of time going house to house. When I saw people out in the yards, I stopped and I says, "Do you know about this park survey?" "What park survey?" "I don't know." So I handed out 63, and like I say, there's only 2 people that really knew about it. And I say in the utility newsletter, we don't get I would read that religiously, and the information there. That would be in there if it was a letter in the newsletter, but it's not. And on the first page, Vic, Vivian, Donna, and myself, we've been pulling invasive plants. On the right, that's reed canary grass, that's seed. We put it in the tub. I don't know who took it out. If the young kids that were picking up the stuff, they just planted a whole patch of reed canary grass.
You mean accidentally right there?
Yeah. When they threw it on the ground, you got a patch of reed canary grass, and we're trying to get rid of that, trying to control it. And when people walk through there, the biggest complaint that some of the complaints they had when the people were walking in the park, because I sat down there 2 days, and people were walking their dogs. They lived in North St. Paul, and that, and would you mind doing the survey? The barrels. People are kind enough now. It took us a while for them to pick up the bags, clean up with their dog, and throw it in the deal. If there's just a little bit in there, the kids that have working here in summer will not empty it. Take a 5-gallon bucket, dump it in there. And it stunk so bad over in some of the outhouses. I mean, where the barrels are. Somebody needs to monitor the kids. That's why there's pictures there. What's in there? The turtles on page 3. I went to the DNR because we have a lot of turtles migrating. I salvaged 2 of them. I got one that's about the size of a $50. It was in the middle of the road. I picked it up. I thought it was dead. I took it down and set it in the water. I watched it. Within a half an hour, the thing come alive and swam away. But the turtle signs, the agreement with the DNR, we're supposed to take them down in the fall and put them up in the spring. That was the agreement that we had with the DNR. And that's not happening.
So you think more attention, they'll get more notice if they're gone for a while,
Yes.
then they
Yes,
can.
it's something new
Yeah.
that nobody knows Steve. And if you see on page 3, these little Bambies were there this summer, this spring,
Oh.
and the turkeys were there. And the little robins are on the kiosks. That was the first thing Donna and I paid for out of our pocket, the information kiosk right there. And that's where the robin's nest is, right up underneath, inside there. And we used to have baby owls 3 years in a row, but I sold my ladders. I can't clean out the nests. They have to be cleaned out. The reason why that is because when the owls bring ant rodents in to eat, there's lice that live there, so they will not nest in another nesting. And that, let's see. And well, like I say, Lloyd helped, his wife helped a lot. And a lot of the people like you see on the deck here, 5 times, these are people in the neighborhood. And the city had agreement, because some of the neighbors had buckthorn planted when we were pulling it out. If they pulled it out, put it on the curb, the city would pick it up and haul it away. We got 2 people that border the park that refused to pull it. They said, if we pull it out, we want the city to replace the plants. No, that don't work there, you know.
What was their reasoning? Wait, they didn't understand that just getting rid of buckthorn was.
Yeah, I tried to explain to them, I says, the berries are a laxative. The birds will eat it. 5 minutes later, 7 minutes later, they will drop it and there's a tree growing.
Yeah.
Now, the Native American Indians, they would pick the buckthorn berries and save them and dry them through the winter. And what they do, they steep it. That was their laxative, like us having Miralax or something, but that's the Native Americans laxative.
I thought that wasn't a native plant.
I don't know, but that's what they were collecting was the buckthorn berries.
When was this?
This is research I did.
You know, then in Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's from Europe.
Yeah, all I know is that they collected for a laxative.
Must have been research.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people put a lot of time in there and the park is going downhill.
We had no burning.
Yeah, no burn. And the reason why we have a burn in the spring, because you got your invasive plants, so the first thing that pop up, when you have a burn to come through, kills the invasive plants and gives the next year's plants to give them a boost.
The native, no, you want to kill off the invasive first.
So would it burn for the last time? It's always been wet and raining, they just haven't.
Oh, so they intended to do a burn this year.
Every year they intend to do it.
We'll just have it burn
4 or 5 years now, you know, upstairs.
one, maybe next year.
But right now, Donna and I, as you know, the monarch butterflies are almost endangered. We put a pollinator patch in the center of the oak savanna. And the Ohio University was asking the master naturalists to go around and collect what is that? Milkweed seed. And we had to mark down where we collected it at, because the milkweed seed is getting so weak in that the plants are not going to produce for the monarchs. So Hayward, Duluth, west of the cities, Winona, into Wisconsin, and around here, I collected the seed and I had it separate in the bags. So I saved some of the seed and I mixed it together for our own deal, and I mailed everything back to Ohio. And that they collected all over so that they can have a new strain. And what they do, the people that come through and spray, they sprayed the monarch butterfly deal. It was 12 feet wide by 20 feet long, and they killed it all. There was also worms on there, butterfly and milkweed worms on there living, and they come through and they just spray.
And who's they? Are we talking about?
Kathy has this company comes in and sprays, and they drive through these kids. And I talked to the owner before they come through. It was early in the spring. I asked him, what are you doing out here? He says, I'm looking at what we have to do here for spraying. I says, I want them to spot spray. Don and I, we also bought wild roses to put in there. We bought, cardinal weed, a plant, and a lot of other plants, so we probably spent $300 for plants and put them in there. What do? They spray it because it's not what they want.
What are they spraying in particular? Just noxious weeds, non-native?
Supposed to, but I don't think the kids know exactly what they're spraying.
Question here. Why? I'm not good at this, but why would you remove dead trees? Isn't that the natural thing for that tree to decompose right there on the spot? Isn't that, I know, like, for instance, in national parks, they don't do that. They let them decompose. So
So houses are so close, you get a lot of dead trees. You're gonna end up like in Canada, fire towards the houses. And also, the city was so kind, they put in 25 trees in there. And they put them around there. And when some of the trees died, they wiped out the young trees. I watered them faithfully every week. Each tree got 5 gallons of water for 3 years. And then I figured, okay, they should be well established where they should take it. I don't think we probably maybe got 7 or 8 trees out of the 25 out there.
It's a dying forest is what it is. We're told that from the beginning. It's a basswood forest, and he said it's on its way out. You're gonna have to start planting.
The DNR come out.
But in the meantime, a lot of the growth over the years has died and it's gone down. And it takes the young stuff with it.
We had the DNR come out and I had Keith from the city when he was working here. He come down. I was we walked through there. The guy pointed out, this gotta go, that's gotta go. This isn't gonna live. You gotta start planting now.
You're doing the planting, we just didn't remove a lot of the dead wood.
Yeah. But I mean, the wood chips, the biggest complaint that I got from people that are walking their dogs. Some trails is a foot wide. Well, yeah, path is.
Yeah, you can see in these
Yeah,
two pictures how it grows over.
They want the wood chips put back and they want to mow back at least a foot or 2 foot on each side of the wood chips.
Is that something the city will do?
I don't know.
And they weren't mowing, like where the deck is. The young kids that were mowing, they just come in. There was a picnic table there when the people were doing the surveys, when I was sitting there. They were sitting in weeds like this underneath the picnic table. They wouldn't move the picnic table. And then right where they just cut it along the edge. They used to take a weed whip underneath the deck. So they got trees and everything growing underneath the deck now. Ash trees and all kinds of stuff.
The estimate is about a mile trail, so there'd be about 2 miles, one side of the trail on the other. I'm going on, I don't really know what the time is.
Or it didn't take long for them to go through.
Every trail or just the one?
When they were moving the edges and that. And down where Daryl's trail is by the lake, they didn't want wood chips there. And when I was on the park commission at that time, the East Park Commissioner or the people that were on the park board, they had a section in the park that they would take care of. Well, I mean, not the park commission, but the task force. And Daryl and Kathy didn't want it mowed. Well, I said, Daryl, then you can have to mow it. Well, finally I talked to the city and they were mowing it. But
Not anymore.
no,
Have you come to the Health and Nature Preserve group? What's the other stuff?
Are they even in existence?
we don't even know if they exist.
I just don't know.
Talk to us.
Yeah, because we just had a meeting with them last month.
Did you?
You may want to talk to them and see what their take is on it.
I know Kathy's not well, so I don't want to disturb her. I don't know who's leading the task force.
you probably could call City Hall and get the names of all the people.
We talked to the Public Works about it already.
And they referred it to you.
There's
Public Works. They
Yeah,
didn't mind, they washed their hands.
Public Works send it to us.
yes.
They said go talk to the department.
When I mentioned Lloyd worked hard, just go see Lloyd.
I'm on the other one end inning.
No,
There's a lot of activity going on.
but I mean, as far as the cheap way out is goats. We're getting rid
How
of
does
the.
that
buck-
work? Just really quickly,
Real quick.
how does that work? Do they just move them in for a while and take them out?
And we got the water supply for them. You run a fence, it's electric fence. The only thing you'd have to shut off the trail so people couldn't go through, and the goats. Completely trim that, and it's after a week in there, then they move it to another spot. They try to move,
If there's any loss, the owner takes the responsibility.
Yeah.
All right,
Great,
Okay,
appreciate it, David.
yeah,
Thank you very much.
super out of work.
Nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Southwood Nature Preserve policy
Is there anything you wanna put on that
on the what?
next month's agenda? So that when they, public comes in, anything, what we can.
Where we at with comprehensive plan?
I think we just, the survey is back, so we're still in the middle of just like, I mean. Overall, okay. I mean, it's, we also have and it's coming up in the next. Actually, it's probably the next thing, the Southwood Nature Preserve. But it sounded like we have people doing their own thing in there, and it's not theirs, so we need to make sure public works and the city knows what's going in. They're doing there won't be any more hiring spray or all has to go through Ron, so nothing unexpected should be going on. Okay. No, but that's why we kind of made the policy, because it's complicated when you come in and just plant stuff.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
I mean, it's very thoughtful, like, because honestly, volunteers have taken care of that park since I've been on the park commission. But I've always had a problem with that because it shouldn't be their responsibility, and it's not like there's a bunch of 25-year-olds in there doing that. People are gonna age out, and who's gonna take care of it, and we've leaned on people who shouldn't, it's the city's responsibility.
Well, besides that, then you don't know what they're doing. How are they supposed to know that that's part of that?
And then when something does get damaged, they put their money
Yeah.
in there. And
Going through Ron now with the
Yeah.
trees and planting and whatever.
Cause I mean, we have to pay for them, so it's not like they can hire on schedule and have it done and then just go run the bill. Everything should be approved and okayed and through public works.
If I want to donate something, then I just gotta get a hold of Ron and talk to Ron about it.
Sure.
Okay.
He's gonna love that. So that's what I wanted to touch on with the Southwood Nature Preserve policy. It's not any really new information. It's probably what's been going on or should have been going on. We just haven't got it in writing. Put it in the.
So we're gonna go to the Southwood Task Force and talk to them about this, because it feels like they're kind of running like parallel to this, like. I just think it would be wise of us to like, not just create a policy and then just expect
They
them.
saw this before you.
Oh, okay, good.
So they've seen it. Okay.
So they made comments, it's gone through the
Oh,
lawyer.
good. Dave and them just aren't part of that task
I
force. So they're
don't
not.
know who's on the task
Dave's
force,
not on it
or they,
anymore.
yeah. So they were made aware. Got them and talked about it.
There's some blood on there. Daryl's about the Kathy and Daryl are about the veterans. I know Kathy's has medical issues.
Mhm.
Daryl, he's been on it for 15 years since the onset. All right, anything else on that?
Think so. I'm not sure. I think we should probably make a motion, say as recommend policy,
Oh,
just in case I need it.
that's good. I don't make a motion.
Okay.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Park and park rental policy.
There was some discussion at the last meeting about the spas here and the things that are going on with the rentals. So I I did a little searching for the ones that we had issues with. 2021 was probably the worst one. We weren't collecting with deposit.
Yeah.
So we had 10 of them that were issues. Most of them were, a lot of them were just leaving the mess, not leaving on time, getting kind of rowdy. And the cleaners coming at 11 at night to deal with trying to get them off.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So when we put the deposit back on, I did go down to 4 in 2022.
For the problems.
Yeah, good. Up this year to 7. But some of those are just people not having their key codes or just leaving after the time. They aren't out by 11.
There,
Do they get the deposit taken if they're not out by 11?
they should. There should be some repercussion. You do?
Yeah, they'll show up as ones that are just late and anywhere between like 11:30 to 1 in the morning. Cleaners kind of hanging out. So some of them are-
Oh, that's
some of them
Oh,
are-
boy.
Do we have any idea? Like, do they tell us like this was a birthday party, this was a wedding, this was a like,
We do have options. We typically never look at it. I don't know, it's data that I can maybe associate it with, but
I just didn't know if they all tended to be like a wedding or if they all tended to be like a birthday party. I mean, I guess we can't really specify. I know with weddings, we can be a little bit more picky, but
they had graduation parties where they book both days because they're decorating the day before. I mean, no, fine, wedding kind of do the same thing, they'll book both days. But we've had some that just cannot get all their decorations down. It's 11:30 and they still have appliques, all of the stuff, so. It just really depends on any given.
has there ever been anyone who's like, we'd really like our wedding to go till midnight, can we just pay for the second day and have the cleaners come in the next day?
We would, then we would just have them out the next day.
Because I mean, that's what I would do. I'd be like, if you're saying I gotta shut down at 10, but I want to go till midnight, can I just pay for the second day and then you guys can clean up tomorrow morning? I won't be in
Yeah,
here, you
and
know?
usually we don't have the cleaners come in on those. Don't know if I would ever tell them that they can stay later because the park technically closes at that time.
Oh, okay.
So it's really, people shouldn't be hanging out till 1 in the morning
Oh,
on
yeah.
parks anyway. We are in
The cleaners call the cops.
They do it.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
that's
that's
true. That's another reason why we take the full deposit. That's usually there.
That's just so unfair, those cleaners.
I know,
I
know. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know we've, nothing from like a funeral, you know. So,
Didn't you?
yeah, so there's no rhyme or reason to it happening. So I did include the rental policy and the fees to see if we could come up with any type of,
The only thing I have to think of is just not knowing or being in the situation where these things happen is like asking our neighboring cities who have buildings like Oakdale or Roseville and Maplewood has that new building, like if they've had similar issues, what have they done?
Yeah.
The bathroom thing was more of a concern to me because that seemed like so problematic.
yeah, and a lot of the damage I think around this time about didn't have to do with it. Those people are just going in the bathroom and taking the hand dryers
Yeah,
off.
it's not.
I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
But I wonder too, like, I don't like to make those bathrooms inaccessible, but I wonder if it wouldn't be fair if you have a rental, especially like you're having an evening party, if there's a way to say, you know, the park bathrooms actually close at like 5 on Saturdays and Sundays, and then the rental gets those, you know, we lock the inside or something, just to help her.
Happy with that. If I brought my children to that
Oh,
park.
to the park, yeah. You'd want to
and
use the.
I want to use the bath.
So right now, the public portion is open from 8 AM till 8 PM, and then they do unlock from the outside,
Okay.
and then the rentals still have them from 8 to 11.
Okay, well, that's very nice.
Yeah,
So the damage is happening during the day if they're locked at 8 PM.
Well, it sounds like it's Silver Lake, it's.
baked every other day.
I feel like part of that
Just-
issue is because the doors are facing the non-visible side, so
Yeah.
no one can see it, like, so it's the
Yeah.
perfect crime.
By the
Casey,
way-
like you can see,
By the way, the art is gorgeous. Have you seen the building that?
no, but can we finish this? before
Yeah,
we get off topic?
sorry, I just wanna let you guys know, cause I forgot last time to mention it. Yeah, sorry.
Like, I wanna get out of here really quick,
Yeah.
I've had a long day.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you need
So,
from us?
so I, Well, I made some red lines here. First one is Olympic center around alcohol. They start at 3 PM. The party's still going to 11. It just happened. Do we want to change anything with alcohol use? Prior to even the 3 years ago, there was an additional charge if they admitted to knowing they were going to have alcohol.
Oh,
So if there was going to be alcohol at the party, they added an additional deposit.
why not?
We could increase.
Did it make any difference? I mean,
Well, alcohol probably is a factor in the lack of being able to clean up on time, and it probably is a factor at the end of the party. When you can't get your act together and get out of there, it's not,
Yeah,
so,
and part of it is still not going to stop the behavior, but
Right.
it will be easier for us to collect the money. 'Cause right
Mhm.
now, the deposit is $350. We've had a few that go over and we just can never get the money. So we have a few of them sitting out there that still owe us money.
oh, I thought we collected the money up front.
We keep $350, but there's one charge with all the way up to $850. So we still are waiting for payment.
Hmm.
So if we increase the deposit, at least we'd have our.
and they would get that
covered.
back if everything's okay,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Only issue that most people have is they'll rent for Thanksgiving all the way in January, and we're holding a deposit of a lot of money for 11 months.
That's the sad part to me, because it really does limit the people that can rent. You don't have money, you can't rent. But I don't know any other thing to do for it. So.
Any thoughts on eliminating alcohol from our rentals?
I feel like that's hard to do because we don't eliminate it from the parks, so people could just put a
Yeah.
cooler on that deck.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I would do if you told me I couldn't. I'm like, well, you can have alcohol in this park, so here's the back door, go have a drink out there and don't drink it in the building.
right.
I feel like that doesn't solve the problem now. Being able to catch them drinking alcohol and saying they didn't do it. If the cleaner's like, yep, here's all the Bud Light cans, like. We could prove that and take that deposit as part of the trouble. But I don't disagree that deposit thing is a limiting factor. That's a whole different thing. Like, I don't know how you do that either, but I wonder if there was like a month before your rental, you paid the deposit and then you got it back, like where you didn't have to wait 12 months if you're someone doing that, but that's not what we're trying to solve here.
Are you saying, should there be an extra fee for alcohol?
I think if that's what we used to do and it didn't hinder,
Yeah,
maybe that's what we do. And just, what did you say it should be? Or what was it?
I vaguely remember 150. I think I'll.
150 extra.
Yeah.
I wish we knew, had hard numbers on to whether that really was a problem.
I'm supportive of the alcohol deposit. What I would ask, and maybe this is, Jill, you could go back and ask city council, is like, is there a way to update our system to, like, obviously you don't want to do like a week before, because then we lose out on rentals if people don't show up with that deposit, but is there a way to shorten the time, whether it's 6 weeks or something like before, where that system prompts you to say,
kicks in.
hey, your deposit, because I would feel better if I'm like, I'll give you $500, but I'm getting it back in 4 weeks. Like, whereas if I go in December 1st and I rent for like September, I'm like, this is like an investment for me to pay $700-800 right now. And maybe if we could just ask that, I think I would feel better about that. And then I think we should word it, if we're going to take a deposit for alcohol, that like, by not being honest about having it, could lose your deposit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you could lose your hold of like, I didn't have alcohol, I didn't pay the 150, but then you didn't tell us we have it. Well, there's your 400, like it's gone, you lied to us.
Got
Like,
it. Yeah,
I think that should be, at least if we're gonna do that, let's make the verbiage really clear, because they're really out nothing if they don't tell us they have alcohol and then they do.
Yeah.
And I do feel like this is in most, when we built this building, we were one of the only facilities that allowed alcohol for this low of a price without going into wedding venues. So
I believe any other city doesn't allow, I can't say that for sure. Any other city don't allow alcohol in their parks anyway. So I don't know, because it's right next to the playground. Where, the other thing I was gonna include was no glass. So we're just doing aluminum plastic.
well, definitely.
The other question is smoking, because we do actually have a resolution where there's no smoking in the park.
No,
Great, no smoke, there shouldn't
smoking
be
in the
smoke.
park.
Smoking in the park.
Yeah, they
like
can
a
go out on the
tobacco-free
street. They can
zone.
go-
I thought our
They can
building
go-
was
It is, people ask to smoke at the parties though, and I'm like.
No smoking, period.
Say
So I
smoking
was going
isn't
to make
cool.
that very
They can
clear.
go out to 17th and, hang out on the curb and not smoke. They
That
can,
was not in our policy either, so that will be added.
yeah,
I don't think that we,
no smoking.
yeah. Let me ask about the credit card vote, like similar to a restaurant where you started to have.
I just wonder, since it's all in a system now, since a lot of people do the rentals online, right? So if it's online, there should be a way to program it to say 4 weeks before your rental, and then you get like 4 days to pay that deposit. If you don't pay it, your rental's up, someone else, that date's open for somebody else, which might. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, it's not a problem if they pay it so far in advance, but I'm also thinking that we open our rentals January 1st. That's a hard financial time for me. That's like the worst time of year right after Christmas. So like, it would be. I guess we don't need help with the rentals. We book out all those weekends, but I just think it would be more accessible.
Every single weekend is booked. We have 3 days left. So. Yeah, if you wonder if we're reasonable, we're reasonable.
Yes, we're very reasonable.
I bet.
Yeah. Okay. I don't, everything else, the tenting where it has to be sandbags, and that's really just because we have. I mean, it damages the grounds and we have a sprinkler system, so that's fun. I was going to add water balloons the last few times that I've been there for the music and park. Little balloon things out of
Yeah.
bushes and.
Oh, wow.
Dragon
Mhm.
fruit.
Yeah,
If we have a lot of wildlife,
Yeah.
no what?
so everybody's okay with that one.
Well, yeah,
That one?
yeah. Good. Hearing.
That one we're just missing a little half-hour tour thing there. So this one was not completely clear. Housing is pretty obvious, they need a key, so people come in and get the key. Casey, like we've had. It seemed to just happen in the last couple of weeks, people calling the on-call for their key code. So we're kind of putting the onus on the renter now to make sure they have their key code to get in. And there would be a 150 charge if they code it.
What's on call? What does that mean?
That's Public Works.
Oh, so they're like bugging some other entity just to get their key code. Yeah,
Paying somebody to come in and open the door that we
Open
wouldn't
the
pay.
door.
oh, okay.
That we wouldn't have had to. Now, how do we retrieve the 150 other than out of the security?
It's their deposit's $350, so we just take it out of there
Okay.
and refund the rest.
Hmm.
That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah,
Is housing having as many issues as Casey? Because it's like, we allow alcohol,
It's about equal,
okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So it's not just exclusive, because I mean, Casey can hold a lot more people, obviously, but.
And you got a key code. Whereas a housing, you gotta get the key to, in order to get in.
Right, yeah, no, the problem we have there is, people don't return the key. Then we charge them for that,
Good.
so they don't get their
Do
refund.
you ever worry that like, they could just use the key to just go back in at their leisure?
But that's why we, we hound them, and then we have to charge them for the rekey, so we've had to rekey it once. And we're still trying to problem solve on how to get people their keys without them having to come to City Hall Monday through Friday.
Is there a way to get like a key code on housing?
Because it does not have Wi-Fi.
oh,
And
that's
Well, had a box.
Like a realtor box or something?
And that's the one we're kind of
like a
talking about, yeah.
Like the
just to
realtor
see
key?
if there's a, yeah. Put it in there.
Maybe that's the way to do it.
But you
Or
still
we're
gotta,
just gonna
you
use
still gotta
somebody's
change the code.
Wi-Fi, whatever.
Still gotta change the
Yeah,
nation.
too bad no one on the like committees
Because
on
I
that
get
one.
Yeah, that's not,
Hmm.
the lockbox is, you have to give the combination.
I'd have
in.
to make a new combination every
Every
time.
time.
Yeah. There's, yeah. Good and bad on every idea we've had.
Yeah.
So I keep asking them to put it in.
Unless you get the dial ones. There's dial ones instead of just.
Yeah.
There's a
You have to
lot.
reprogram those too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she'd have to go in, you'd have to go in there every time and,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if
But
they
still
get like a set of 3, we do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, it's just a Monday morning thing, maybe it would be worth our. Well,
Yeah, I think maybe adding the deposit for the alcohol would be good.
Um. Just simply, I don't know if you guys don't care, we're gonna ask cleaners about leaving the tables down. They're being
Leaving the
so
tables
much up, just leaving them set up, with the chairs on top. You put them up and down how many times in the last 2 weeks?
I didn't tell you what that cute little boy said to me. You're a really strong old lady.
Was that the little boy at Star Watch?
No,
Somebody-
that's the best of
Oh.
the, yeah, because we were taking the table and this little tiny kid, he's only about this big, I can lift those tables easily, I've done that many times. And so I was doing it by myself and you're a really strong old lady.
Thank you. Throwing those things around, I think it was so we're gonna talk to cleaners about that one, but that one might change a little bit, just.
So you're saying leave the tables out?
Yeah,
Well, I can see if they're dirty, they might not have washed them up.
exactly, I mean,
Oh.
and the chairs too,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they stack them.
That's a lot of work for renter. I mean, not that like renters shouldn't have to do stuff, but if, I feel like maybe what it should be is on your rental form, you say, I want tables, I don't want tables set up. Because then like, it's kind of like, well, I just wanted these tables out. And then if you get for some reason, someone who just wanted an open
Yeah.
situation and you guys can leave it closed. Otherwise,
Tables out, yeah, and I just noticed it's like, they're dropping on the floor, they're just getting beat up, the sides are all black, and I'm like, I think. We need to
Might be better not
to
to
do-
leave.
just knock around them or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Well,
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Okay. This, I don't know if the culvert is needed anymore, we might change that, and then I was gonna ask no smoking.
yeah,
I'm just anything else, the cleaners, you obviously talk to them, but like, if there's anything else they say that is a nuisance or a problem, then maybe just let us know or use your discretion to add that. I thought like the no glass is a good thing, but if there's other things that come up that they see a lot,
Right, okay.
we needed to review the fees.
Yeah, what do you guys think on the fees? I mean, we're still this, status quo. I think it's.
It doesn't seem to be discouraging anybody, that's for sure.
we talked about it pretty lengthy last year.
Yeah, we
I feel
did.
like once
Yeah.
anything's changed. Like the more we raise it up with and now having the deposit, just the more inaccessible it becomes to
Yeah.
like certain people.
It's probably.
Well, leave it.
It's probably.
Yep.
I think that's all good for that.
We'll leave it then. All right,
Mhm.
let's see. Old business? Anybody? Park and open space plan.
Um, we wrapped up our community outreach with the survey. So this was from Brandy, she kind of put this, in there just to give you a little background on it. So she is working on the park and open space plan, summarizing the community survey. Just ended it at August, she's, stuff, she'll be coming to the next meeting, kind of give you an overview of what we got in. A couple things she was asking if we would be interested in doing a workshop at one of the parks, trying to get more information, or maybe after the October meeting, you can decide that. Maybe you'll have enough data. I think we got around 300 surveys in. If you feel like there's one thing we can.
What did you mean? Workshop? See more about that.
And she was kind of thinking out one of, well, I always run into trouble with accessibility at the parks. But having kind of an open forum to get more people in, just on one night thing where you guys be there. Like a school part.
I feel like, we've done this in the past. My only problem with that is like, it's gonna be very polarized to whatever park we host it at. You know what I mean? Like, if you have it at Casey, people want to give you feedback about Casey. If you have it at Silver, Housey. So my thought is that I'm hoping that survey was a bit more broad and we're getting more of the appetite of the entire city. I will say doing the survey myself, I feel like some of, and having a background in like consumer research, some of the questions felt a little directive like they felt suggestive. It was like, do you want to fix Southwood? Or do you want, well, one of them was, do you want a downtown park or would you rather invest the money in other parks?
Oh,
And I feel like that's not necessarily like, if we're spending money on downtown park, that's not necessarily taking money from other parks. And I felt like, so I am interested to see how it turns out. I feel a little leery of it. But I think if we're going to go the route of getting feedback from the public, it's gotta be a little bit more like, I don't know. Sadly, it almost has to be like in city, like here. And then how do we get a hold of the people? Dave made it very clear that no one knew about it.
Right,
So,
right, right.
Well, it's
Well,
300 people, so, the, probably the last option that we've been looking at because of the cost is around $700 to mail something out to everybody.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
If we're gonna get good information, is it worth it? So we can. talk
I
about
feel like
that.
what we should do is like, nothing's getting done in the fall anyways. Like, I think we should sit down and discuss like the results of that. And if we're concerned or we feel like, my concern is like, if I didn't know anything about it, I'd be like, well, why would I want to build a downtown park? That means money isn't going to these other parks. Like, if I think the whole survey is going one direction, then I think, but if a lot of people commented on stuff, then we might get a lot of feedback out of. I heard one of my neighbors say something about a skate park, and like, I wrote that in the survey that I want a skate park. I'm like, great, you know, like those are almost the thing I'm more interested in is what did people take the time that they were passionate about to write?
Quite a few comments.
So that, I feel like we're gonna have a lot of information, and if we feel like we don't, then I feel like then we could look at those other options, but. You know,
So we'll have her come to the October meeting, go
Okay.
through what we, and then.
No question and answer.
could you, in your next email for the group, maybe put that as like the topic, so I know not everyone goes into their emails and reads, but I think people would maybe. Try harder to get, I mean, there are not that many of us and we're mostly here, but just so that everybody knows, like, hey, big topic of discussion, and we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
the survey and start planning out. Good stuff.
And she's already started putting together this. So I was like, what's the difference between park improvement plan? So there is a difference. She knows it, and I'm like, she'll explain it to you. Okay.
Good. Well, let's leave it at that then,
We'll stay on the edge
Yep,
of our
I'll do
service.
B, Park and Rec Commission.
Haven't heard from Joe, haven't seen Joe, he's sent months with any application, so unfortunately we sent him a letter. And we have an open position. You do have the application out there, do you know anybody?
I do.
Go online, fill that out.
Actually, I met her at the festival.
Great.
Great.
And it's somebody I knew in the past, but I didn't remember. And then she said, don't you remember? I worked with all those old ladies on the flowers. I said,
Oh,
"That's me."
yeah.
I feel like it's the old lady.
Oh,
They should be.
I'll try and find her number.
She's interested.
She lives next door to Terry, so I'm gonna have to call Terry and get her next, there.
Just tell Terry to tell her, he's good at
Yeah,
telling people.
he's good at telling people.
He
that
probably
she's
got
on the
everybody on this
commission.
commission on
Yeah,
there,
that's
so.
right.
Yeah, we have a
I wonder what Terry would do back on this commission.
Yeah,
Yeah, Terry.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
A little
for some
courtesy.
reason maybe it's on the backside here. I did have Public Works give me an update on what they've been doing. They did put wood chips in Colby and Casey. They've been planting grass seed. What else was on his list? Yeah, I don't think it was on his list, but we just did the permit. They are re-roofing all of the buildings in the parks. So Casey, all the shelters.
Really? Aren't they?
Yeah.
Hail, hail damage?
I think so. I think
Okay.
So
It's like an
I
insurance
can't
thing.
imagine that. They didn't say.
I'm like, we wouldn't be.
No, we're not doing, but none of this stuff comes out of their maintenance budget now. That's why we get to work on just the bigger pictures and improvements. So the maintenance is coming out of Public Works. And they did fix up a lot of the shelters because they're gonna be repainting. So. Look for that.
Cool, that's great.
Oh,
I think that was that.
And our beautiful new mural.
oh, yeah. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And I talked to the artist a lot when he was down there the week or two.
I
week
talked
and
to
a
him
half.
at the
Oh,
art festival.
oh, he came to,
Yeah,
He came to the
he
art
he
festival.
had the kids doing birdhouses, painting birdhouses. He
Oh,
is an incredible artist.
he is an incredible art, like, it's beautiful down there.
His artwork.
Now
that
just
he
hope
has-
they'll do something,
What's that?
so I just hope nobody does anything like
Oh, I know.
graffiti, like.
Well, here's the deal, I need to say, you know how I first brought up, oh, you know, you're gonna obstruct people's views and you're gonna have something glaring. So then they kind of listened to me, and the back wall of it is plain like off-white. And that's just waiting to be tagged, I think, you know, by somebody. But the three sides are painted, the mural, and Taylor even had an idea to like to bring in one of the blues for the back, you know, just to. And then maybe make a couple of those things wrap around, the weeds wrap around just slightly. And I thought that would be just beautiful. But for some reason,
Okay. Around the side just to kind of make the.
you did around the back.
Yeah, and then he stopped on the corners. They must have thought it was okay, but they are going to change the right way. I think they're just trying to. The subtle color.
Great.
And
And
greens or.
hopefully it's something that actually works or incorporates something.
What a great
Works
place for
with
that
the mural.
commission. They're getting their feet wet. I love that.
Yeah.
They've been great.
Fun to work with.
All right.
All right.
I have one other thing,
Oh.
but I didn't make the list. October 4th, next
Oh,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Is the Max thing with Larry, Nancy, and I have not heard from Heather, so somebody reach out.
Oh, Heather. You want one of us to reach out to?
That'd be great.
And there's, I just, they don't take reservations, so I will call.
At what time again? Sorry.
I was just gonna make it 5.
Okay, that'd be good. Yeah, I'm getting my COVID shot up.
I'll tell her to bring her spouse and everything. They're ready to bring his
What's
spouse.
going on today? My arm, I took a shot.
No, are they bringing spouses?
Oh, I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, give me a count then. Everybody tell me if you're bringing someone.
Yeah.
I was just gonna do like.
I'll just,
I'm not very.
I'm not bringing my spouse.
No. Well, I think don't like him, but he's just.
Oh, you need a number for tables, don't
I
you?
do, yeah, so 4:00, that Wednesday, just that way then.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I got.
or just the.
It went great. It was a huge success. I think it was a fluid amount of traffic all day. I think a lot of the vendors were really successful. I didn't get to really see anything that was going on in the building or the other things going on, so you guys could.
The only thing wrong was something that me and that young boy did, and I didn't realize it. We started picking up those tables and sweeping the floor, and all of a sudden I realized we're doing it on the other side of Goss window where they're dancing.
That was hilarious.
So. All of a sudden I looked up and I thought,
Oh,
we shouldn't be doing this. I felt really bad.
like folk dancers again and stuff.
There was all kinds of groups. I mean, it was great. The music was steady, the dance, and each one of those groups brought in people. The food trucks looked all pretty steady. I don't know if you got a report from any of them that felt like they did. I saw one of them like kind of sitting there for a little bit, like the burger truck, but they still had people coming.
Yeah.
And I think the more people know about it, the more we did hear a lot of people that were driving by and just saw it and were like, well, we're kind of curious what's
That's, I
going on.
think it was brilliant. Food trucks on
Yeah.
a.
Yeah.
It's Amanda's idea.
Oh,
It's a
along
great
the
idea.
road. Oh, yeah.
So you
The
get on
only-
the sidewalk, you know.
The only complaints I got, and it was the same thing that I had emailed, but it was actually from the same person and somebody else, was about the accessibility of the vendor show. And I did talk to Amanda about it, and she was kind of very hard on like not changing it. But I was like, we lucked out with this weather, but had we not, there was a couple people in wheelchairs and it wasn't that easy for them. I mean, it was pretty hard packed, so it was okay. But I don't think we gave that enough thought. I told Amanda, I'm like, as much as it is nicer to have this over here where you're kind of in this area, I said, I don't wonder if the art show shouldn't be in the parking lot and we just go back to not having the parking lot accessible. Because we don't have a big enough area unless we stay on that trail, but then it goes kind of down. I just think it's something we need to revisit, like once we've had a moment, but there was a couple people in wheelchairs and someone said like, this is nice, but like my wife's in a wheelchair, she can't really come in some of these booths because of like, they might be they were on the sidewalk, but they couldn't come in to like people's booths that went in and they couldn't. And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't enough people to like, obviously, but if someone made a stink about that, we could all be in trouble. And so I think that's just something we have to, because the building isn't big enough to host that. So
No.
And what I told Amanda is I'm like, honestly, the better venue for this is downtown North St. Paul. Like this should be done like Hopkins or anyone else, and we should close the streets, do it downtown North St. Paul, help those businesses there. And I get it wouldn't be a park situation, but maybe it could
It's a great idea.
fundraise towards the downtown park. I don't know, but like,
Oh, it's so funny, cause I've thought of that so many times, I thought you guys wouldn't go for that, cause it's not in the park.
No, I
Oh,
was
that's
the
funny.
city manager at Close Seventh Avenue Line.
Not a fan of closing.
But there
yeah, but
are
you're
other-
seeing it, Anoka
there
is
are
doing it,
places.
where Anoka got like a license where you can carry, like you're allowed to actually
Yeah.
open container for the month, but like, I'm just saying that like, as we think about ADA accessibility, we don't have any parks besides maybe Silver where you could go along that longer stretch, but we don't have a building and we don't have that, you know,
Mhm.
I just think
There's
as we.
a lot of the new park. Well, it's just redundant. Be a good spot too. We thought about when we were brainstorming, we were thinking between Seventh Avenue and Halsey, then you have a destination park. Doing that side of the street.
Oh,
Was it, is it Henry?
Residents live on that street, but
It's
I mean,
not a perfect, we just keep working on it.
I mean, honestly, they can close it for the car show. And that is not a city run event. So like, to me, I'm like, they should be able to close it for a city, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's for the merchants.
Yeah.
They get their gander up and will leave buckets. Well, Susanna hates it. She
What, the
hates
car
it.
show?
Yeah.
she would, she's the one who propelled the art commission. She would be okay with an art
She
fair.
might, yeah, but she.
Yeah, but you got all the foot traffic.
Yeah.
I think she doesn't get as much.
What
It's
does
such
she,
a specific.
always loves, is
Yeah,
that loves?
Yeah,
Oh.
such a specific
Mhm.
thing.
They're an interesting group. And they've been shaming people on Facebook, which is
Cool.
interesting. The car show Facebook page, like,
Oh,
it's just,
Oh,
it's just a different, it's a different thing, but I do think like Casey Lake's accessible, you see it, I just think if we keep it there, that's wonderful, but I think we just need to think about, and maybe it is the parking lot, because it is all paved and we just close it, but
Yeah.
I do
That's a-
think,
that's a good idea.
and then people could come unload and load their cars, which we couldn't do this year, but I just think we just need to take that back, everyone kind of bring it up to someone else, see what people's thoughts or mull over it for a few months. I just, that was one point, and then I did see this, it was a couple, and they were both in wheelchairs, and that was when I stood there, my heart broke a little bit, because they couldn't come in a few people's booths, and I'm just like, okay, we did make this harder, like, we didn't make this fair to everybody.
Where were
is
the
what I'm saying.
booths that they couldn't get to? along the
Well,
trail?
even if they were on the trail, like I off the trail, but like you had to go down and then in, and then luckily it was hard packed. I'm saying,
Okay.
what if it had rained the day before?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be rolling at all over there, you know what I mean? So
Okay,
it wasn't necessarily,
so put everything up in the park.
I don't have the answer to that, but I do think like
Not bad.
where it was worked great because all those vendors were accessible to the building. It was all kind of this nice little,
Was it in the
You
same?
can't just do it
Um,
on the hockey rink.
but it's just so far away from the performers.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
That's the idea, was to get a stage,
Yeah,
and everything would have been on that side of the park.
and then you don't have to worry about kid traffic, because I know the events we've had sometimes, you got kids running around, you got cars backing up.
Let's just, we'll have to have a meeting separately, just kind of like as a wins and ops, but
The events are supposed to move to Cary anyway, but she'll have some.
yeah.
Parade went well, ran out of candy again, but
Yep.
that's okay.
I doubled it.
I know, I don't.
And you had bracelets and poppets and bookmarks.
And I
Wow.
stuff with them.
Wow.
Things, I swear you could have just dumped it.
gosh.
We could have,
It was a beautiful day too.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
That was
Thanks
such
to
a good
everybody that
weekend.
was there. Went really well.
It felt like a whole kind of city thing,
Mhm.
Yep,
parade, car show.
that went really well. Except for everybody I was up back at the end and the officer goes, you need to move this, because everybody wanted to get in and get out, so I could drop them off. No, we can't do this, you gotta do it here, okay. It went really well.
And you were even in a North St. Paul truck.
Yep.
No, so told us.
Whoever they keep on, he said, you need to keep moving, like.
Didn't get back. It's true.
Star Watch went really well, 80 degrees and clear skies.
That's great.
I mean, Mike could have went till forever and ever, but we did from 7:30 to 9. Now it's plenty, because then I got out of there about 9:30. And that's fine. But if you get him, you tell him 7:30 to 10, he'll be there till 12. The street light. I talked to you about that, we gotta get it shut down. There was one street light by the ball field that was lit up, and nobody knew about it.
I know,
So he goes, that's gotta go. And then he was mentioning the city lights. There's nothing we can do about that. He said, even in Egan Prairie, when he does this, it's issue with city lights.
I
But
can't even think of a better place.
No.
There's an, Lake Elmo, because they have real strict, like mission laws, but that's.
It's just one of the-
That's
but the people-
thing.
I heard several people say you coming back next year and so forth. So I thought it went really well.
Good.
Thank you,
Donna,
Sue.
Yes.
It was fun.
Would you ever consider like charging anybody for it? Cause we had 70 register, we had 10 people on the waiting list and then 50 showed up.
50 showed up plus
Well-
about
30 people they
About-
registered and everything.
about 10 walk-ons. And the
We used to charge, I
walk-ons,
feel like $2 or something, but
yeah,
it was like you're supposed to pay when you got there or
Yeah.
something.
The only thing is that there are a lot of people that didn't show up, and they might not have shown up even if they had paid. And then if those people that came, would we have had to collect money from them if we had let them go?
there's no way we'd be able to collect money because people are
No.
Does it
walk-ons.
just complicate things?
Well,
It would
you-
complicate things because he's in the ball field. There's no way that Sue and I could.
Maybe
be
we
able-
just don't waitlist people unless there's like 40 people, or like maybe the night day of, just be like, okay, we're gonna expect like 20 people not to show, so we'll just let these other people in.
That's what we did, but we didn't
So it was
But
only
there's no way to
people on the wait-
collect from them.
Yeah, that just
Well, you would
sounds.
just
if-
say
if
you
it's
have
a
to pay,
small enough
otherwise
amount,
they
then
can't go on.
you gotta go.
There's
you
lots
know.
of places.
Any other, Sarah, anything to report?
Mm-mm.
Ingrid,
No,
Jill,
I'm good.
Sue?
Not about parks, but we had a function at the Historical Society last night, and we had 50 people come.
550?
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Well, we do fill it up quite often,
That's great.
but it's been a while since we've done
Yeah.
something like this, so.
Was there anything that we ever do with the park rec commission in Levy Street?
I sure wish we could.
That would be
We
fun.
did, Terry and I went and did a little Parks
Yes,
Commission thing a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
we ask everybody to come, but.
Yeah.
the ones that came.
yeah. What was it last night?
Oh, it was about the Ray family, I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
My husband knows that.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
you would know the story very well. There was a family in nursing called, we don't know any Wrights because there were no males. When Ernie Wright didn't have any children, and then, but his two sisters adopted 9 orphan girls. And I've heard bits and pieces of this, and I know many of those people, but I didn't know the entire story, and it is unbelievable. Those two of the sisters, Henrietta and Minna, decided not to marry and to adopt children, and they ended up with 9 girls. One was Mouse Weber, Dorothea Weber, who was Clarence Weber's wife, the Weber's up with well.
Oh, yeah.
So if I went down the list, a lot of them you might recognize names. I recognize many of these because I've lived here for long, but the Sherricks and the Sun Guards, and it was just
Yeah.
fascinating, just fascinating.
That's,
Yeah,
and 50 people, that's a big turnout.
yeah. Well, we have had that many before for a variety of things,
That's
but
great.
it's been a little while. COVID messed that all up. I think we're back on track.
Good.
Yeah, but anytime you would want to do something at the museum, we'd be
Yeah.
up for that.
Think about an idea, that'd be great. Maybe we gotta go bang our heads together.
You know what I was thinking, Holiday Hop is gonna be on the 2nd of December.
I'll
Is
let you
it?
one.
Holiday Hop.
Oh.
And I don't know if any of the commissions wanna get involved in anything, or, I don't know. I was just trying to brainstorm and think what, to promote parks. Is there something we could do at Christmas time? I don't know.
Seems like off season. Oh,
Yeah.
that's why we probably
Yes.
haven't ever thought of it before, is because
But we do have
like
kids
winter.
playing in parks. in the
That's,
winter.
yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know.
That's true.
Yeah, the fire and ice always goes a little later because we have to make sure the ice. It's cold
Yeah.
enough.
I don't know.
Do we
just
have
a
any
thought.
parks that we do a lot of lights on? I think one of the comments we read on the survey was having like a central large tree with like a lighting ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that
Oh, a
like,
Christmas tree.
it could be in the,
People would show up with that.
it could be in the downtown park someday. I'm all with you, Sarah.
Every time something comes up. Brings back and the concerts.
Keep building things, which is great for business, but
Anything else, Sue?
Oh, now I'm thinking about the tree.
Oh,
things to mull over.
You know what, maybe we need to have Public Works plant a very
An
nice,
actual tree.
an actual tree someplace. And plan on that being the tree to be decorated.
put one bulb on it like Charlie Brown tree.
Get that corner.
And then a bunch of us will decorate it and make it into this amazing tree at the end of
Yeah.
Angels we have heard on high or whatever it is. The Herald, isn't that what they tell me?
Good. Okay,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do with the park improvement stuff, right? And when do we have to start putting in for the funding for arts festival and Star Watch and so forth?
So they already have kind of our estimated number.
Okay,
I think she is going, she has to get on the city council agenda. I thought it was in October somewhere there that she will be going to them with that.
Cassidy,
Brandy.
Brandon, okay.
So then we'll get approval, that'll go to. I think then we would know how much money we have, and then we can do kind of a brainstorming in January and see what events we really are interested in doing, and then that's when I'm bringing Carrie to start. There's a template, there's a whole bunch of fun things involved.
That's good timing, winter. All right, a motion to adjourn.
I make motion to adjourn.
Sarah, second.
We'll second that.
Ingrid, all in favor, say aye.
Right.
All opposed.
Wow, 7:37.
Oh.
My record is 59 minutes, but that was at a housing